All right. Good afternoon, Millie. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. So I've got your resume here in front of me. You've applied to a 3-week data entry position. So tell me a little bit about your background working in customer service, call center, and with data entry.
Alrighty, no problem. So I first started working in customer service when I was about 14. My first job was public, so to get my foot in there to be around people and learn customer service. I then worked my way up to actual call center work in about 2010, I want to say, and I just been in customer service roles ever since with call centers. My last call center job, I was the call center supervisor. So I managed about 27 representatives over the phone because it was like a team that I had, and handling their caseloads, reviewing their calls, and putting it into the computer so they can have their calls dispatched to different languages and everything.
Fantastic. And you were with that call center for quite some time. Did you work your way up into that management role? Did you start in an entry level seat or how did that work?
I actually did start at a entry level. I started as a regular, little worker bee in my little cubicle. It just so happened that my immediate lead supervisor ended up, resigning, and they looked at my numbers and it was like, "Hey, how would you feel about, moving up a position?" I was like, "Okay, no problem." And then after like I want to say about 9 months, I was the call center supervisor.
Fantastic. I love that. Now tell me in that position, how were metrics measured as far as what did good look like? Were you having to make a certain amount of calls per day, certain amount of documentation done? What did that look like?
Okay, so we had a minimum of 60 calls a day because we were technically working with, rental assistance because this is when COVID first, it's like just before COVID hit, and then we took over COVID's emergency rental.
Okay.
So they would have to maintain at least 60 calls and then try to, figure out if they were eligible for our program. And then let's see, they would have to the minimum of the call for a good resolution would be about 6.5 7 minutes on that call. If the
Okay.
call was less than that, we're going to review it. We're going to review it anyway, just to make sure you followed all those proper steps to give that caller everything that they needed.
All right, fantastic. And I do want to point out to the client that while you're on these calls, you are having to document everything that's being said, being done into the database system, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Notes is very, very important because we don't want a customer to say, "Well, hey, I called on this day and such did this." And we can go back and look, see who took that call with that number, and okay, if there's a note or not, because we're going to see you took that call. So if you didn't leave
Great.
a note, that's a write up because you have to
Fantastic.
write a note.
Gotta put the notes in. All right, I love that. And you're an extremely fast typer. It looks like you can type at 60 words per minute.
Yeah, I'm probably a little bit faster than that. I just try to keep it at a
Concern.
minimum.
Okay. All right. And then what would you say is the most important thing to you about the next company that you work for?
The most important thing for the company. Hmm. I have an honor code. I don't know if everybody has one of those, but just do things that, you would want done to you in the right manner. If you know you wouldn't want to be treated like that, it's not honorable. Don't do it to the next person because we all have feelings, whether we show it or not. So just be honorable.
Good answer. I like that. It's different than the normal. I'm looking for opportunity for growth. I like the answer around integrity. So I'll take that all day. Millie, thank you so much for jumping on here with me so quickly. I do want to point out to my client, we did our initial interview about an hour ago. You were so interested. You jumped in the car, you got home so we could film this for them. So that way, hopefully you can get started tomorrow. So I'll go ahead and stop the recording and I'll be in touch with you here in a couple hours.
All right. Thank you so much. You have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.